What I'm about to share with you could completely change how you feel about your immigration journey in 2026. While headlines focus on crackdowns, restrictions, and fear, there is a very different story. Developing inside USCIS at U.S. embassies around the world and across the immigration system as a whole, a story of real movement, real approvals, real concrete hope. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's changing, who is actually benefiting, and most importantly, what this means for your specific situation. This is the kind of information that can save you months of unnecessary anxiety and help you make smarter, calmer decisions. About your immigration future, welcome back to the Immigration Updates Hub, your trusted source for real, actionable U.S. immigration information that cuts through the noise and gives you what you actually need to know. I'm glad you're here as we step into January 2026 together. Before we dive into today's important update, if you're new to this channel, hit subscribe. Turn on the notification bell. Here at Immigration Updates Hub, we post regular updates on visitor visas, green cards, work permits, citizenship, and everything in between. This community is built on accurate information, practical guidance, and supporting each other through a very complicated journey. If you find today's video helpful, please tap like. It helps this information reach more people who genuinely need it. Now let's talk honestly about where we are. Where many of you stand at the start of 2026. As we welcome this new year, a lot of you are carrying very heavy worries. You have applications that have been pending for months or even years. You're scared your work permit might not be renewed in time. You're wondering if that one-up interview notice will ever arrive. You're watching parents, spouses, or children grow older in another country while you wait for approval to bring them here. You're checking your case status online far too often, hoping for any sign of movement. After years of unpredictable policy shifts, huge backlogs, confusing announcements, it is completely understandable. If you feel exhausted, frustrated, or even close to giving up, here is what I want you to keep in mind, and this is critically important. The U.S. immigration system is still strict. It still demands accuracy, patience, and compliance. And yes, the current environment still emphasizes cloud enforcement and security. But at the same time, something significant is happening. In multiple areas of the system, there are real, measurable signs that not everything is moving in the wrong direction. In fact, there are developments that point toward stabilization, predictable processing, and in some cases, life-changing relief. For families who have waited far too long, I want to be absolutely clear. I am not here to tell you immigration has suddenly become easy. It hasn't. I am not claiming that every case is moving quickly. Many are still slow. I am not telling you to relax, stop double-checking your forms, or assume everything will work out automatically. What I am telling you is this. There's specific areas where real movement is happening. There are normal categories where processing is genuinely improving. And people just like you are finally receiving decisions they've been praying for. Over the next several minutes, we're going to walk through those positive developments together. Green card processing trends, work permit, EAD timelines, visa processing at embassies abroad, signals from Congress that matter for future policy and processing, the current enforcement climate, and what all of this actually means out for you and your family. My goal is for you to finish this video feeling informed, grounded in reality, and cautiously hopeful about what 2026 might hold. Let's start with one of the biggest questions for so many of you. 1. Green card processing, where we're seeing real improvement. Throughout the final months of 2025, something important was happening inside USCIS that didn't make big headlines. The agency quietly continued on to intensive efforts to reduce backlogs, especially for family-based adjustment of status combined. Cases filed by people already inside the United States. You need the honest version. Timelines still vary a lot. Depending on which office is handling your case, processing at one service center can look very different from another. But here's what immigration professionals and applicants across the country have been consistently reporting. Many people are seeing faster interview scheduling law than in previous years. And once cases are complete, all documents submitted, medicals done, biometrics attended, decisions are coming more steadily and predictably. This improvement is especially noticeable for immediate relatives of U.S. citizens, including spouses of U.S. citizens, parents of U.S. citizen children, 21 plus years old, unmarried children under 21 of U.S. citizens. These categories are special because visa numbers are always available online for them. There is no priority date backlog. There is no annual cap. That artificially slows these cases. USCIS has continued to prioritize these immediate relative adjustment cases for people who filed properly, responded quickly to any request for evidence, completed biometrics and medical exams on time. Approvals are moving more consistently in 2025-2026 than we saw a few years ago. Does that mean everyone case is fast? Absolutely not. Some still face delays due to security checks, administrative processing, complex histories, missing or unclear documents. But the overall pattern is less black hole silence, more missing, predictable and quiet processing. Better ability for families to plan around the likely timeline. If you file correctly, must and gotta maintain eligibility. The odds are much higher now that your case will be processed, decided, and not just disappear into endless limbo. Employment-based green cards. Employment-based green cards are another area where we are seeing stability, and in some cases, measured progress. Let's be honest, backlogs for applicants from some countries, especially India and China in EB2 and EB3, remain severe. In some categories, the wait can still be measured in almost many years, even decades. That harsh reality has not disappeared. But here's the other side. When priority dates are current and files are document complete, USCIS has been using available visa numbers more consistently. There is a clear effort to avoid wasting numbers. At the end of the fiscal year, in the past we saw years where visa numbers went unused, simply because cases were not processed in time. This was especially painful for people stuck in long lines who would have gladly taken those slots. Recent efforts have focused on better internal coordination, faster adjudication of current priority date cases, making full use of the numbers Congress has already allocated. The result, we are seeing forward movement instead of total stagnation, even if that movement is slower than anyone would like. 2. Work permits, EADs. Shorter cards, but more predictable renewals. Work authorization is absolutely critical. If you can't work legally, you can't reliably support yourself or your family, you risk losing your job, your housing, and your stability. You may lose the very basis that supports your future immigration process. So when USCIS announced in late 2025 that it was reducing the maximum validity period for some EAD categories, panic made sense. Shorter validity means more frequent renewals, more fees, more paperwork, and more chances for delays or mistakes. But here's the part that many headlines never mentioned. At the same time, USCIS shortened certain validity periods. It also streamlined internal CISOR processing of renewals, targeted EAD backlogs more aggressively, For many categories, the median processing times convenient for EAD renewals have stabilized, and in some cases actually been improved. Compared to the nightmare years of 2022 to 2023, think back, people waiting 6, 8, 10 months or more for renewals. People bombed, losing work authorization. Because renewal decisions came too late. Families going without pay because of processing delays. That level of chaos has decreased significantly. For people who renew early and correctly. And this part is critical. You should be filing your EAD renewal at least 120, 150 days on one continuous before your card expires or as soon as the rules for your category allow. For those who human, follow the instructions. File complete applications. Maintain eligibility. And file on time renewals are moving more efficiently and with fewer gaps in work authorization. This is especially important if you are adjusting status and need the EAD while you wait for your green card, have a pending asylum application, are in some other category where your EAD is your lifeline while your main case remains undecided. Yes, shorter card durations mean more vigilance on your part. But if you calendar your renewal dates, gather documents early, send in complete, timely filings, the system is currently supporting continuous work authorization. Far better than it did a few years ago. That stability matters enormously in everyday life. 3. Visa processing abroad. Consulates slowly normalizing. For many families, the biggest bottleneck hasn't been USCIS. It's been nationwide consulates and embassies overseas. For years, the National Visa Center, NVCI, and various embassies have been overloaded with backlogs, slow to review documents, hard to communicate with. As we enter 2026, we're seeing a very important shift. NVC, document review times, have become also more predictable. Cases that were delayed during the pandemic and immediate post-pandemic years are moving again. Many consulates have expanded interview capacity. Think about what that means. During the worst of the backlogs, families waited years just for an interview slot. People missed work opportunities, joining spouses, seeing parents before they passed away. Now, with expanded capacity, more interviews are being scheduled, more immigrant and non-immigrant visas are being issued, more cases are reaching final decisions each month. It is not perfect. Some embassies are still understaffed. Certain regions still face security or logistical challenges. But the overall trend is gradual normalization, less constant cancellation and closure, more reliable interview calendars. This affects family-based immigrant visas, employment-based immigrant visas, diversity visa, DV winners. Many temporary visa categories. For people who have been separated from their families for years, any meaningful increase in interviews and visa issuance is a major step forward. The waiting isn't over, but it's becoming more bearable and more predictable. 4. Temporary visas. Clearer timelines for students and workers. Side. Temporary visas, especially for international students, F1, M1, professionals on H1B or L1, exchange visitors, J1 and others, have always been very time-sensitive. Students have semester start dates. Workers have job offer start dates. Exchange visitors have fixed program periods. In many consulates, we are now seeing clearer processing timelines, more of the transparent appointment availability, more ability for people to plan their studies and jobs realistically. Security screening is still strict, and it should be, but processing itself has become more predictable and nice in many posts. If you book your appointment early, bring all required documents, follow instructions carefully, you're more likely today than a few years ago to get a decision in time to start school or work as planned. 5. Congress and policy. Small moves that still matter. I know many of you are tired of hearing the phrase immigration reform. For decades, we've heard promises of chatimiennes, comprehensive reform, big bills, big speeches, very little actually passing. Realistically, in today's political climate, sweeping reform is unlikely to in the very short term. But that doesn't mean nothing is happening. Congress affects immigration not only through giant reform bills, but also through targeted, smaller fixes, funding decisions, quiet adjustments in how resources are allocated. In recent discussions, there has been ongoing talk about addressing the most painful long-term backlogs, interest from both parties in different ways, in making legal immigration more efficient. Where it supports the U.S. economy, debate about providing more resources to agencies like USCIS and the State Department when agencies receive better funding. Even without huge law changes, that money often goes into hiring more officers, upgrading technology, reducing backlogs, standardizing, and speeding up processing. These behind-the-scenes improvements may not grab headlines, but they can dramatically affect how long your case sits in a queue. As we start 2026, there are live conversations in Congress about resource allocation for immigration processing. We cannot predict exact outcomes, but the very existence of these discussions, combined with recent backlog reduction efforts, suggests that gradual operational improvements may continue. 6. Enforcement and deportation. What's actually happening? Now let's address one of the biggest sources of fear: enforcement. Under the current administration, immigration enforcement is still a priority. That includes border enforcement, actions against serious criminal offenders, national security screening. I will not minimize this or pretend it doesn't exist. However, and this is extremely important to understand, enforcement priorities have remained focused primarily on people with serious criminal convictions, people who have significantly violated immigration laws, people who present security concerns. Immigration attorneys and community organizations across the country report that routine applicants with clean records, pending applications, strong family or employment ties are not as being broadly targeted just for having a pending case. If you are following the law, attending your appointments, keeping your address updated, maintaining status where possible, you remain much less likely to be aggressively targeted than the fear-based rumors suggest. This does also mean there is zero risk. You should be careless if you are out of status. You should ignore past violations, but the idea that everyone with a pending application will be arrested at their interview is not matching reality. On the ground right now, you should know your rights, have a safety plan, talk to a lawyer if you have issues in your history, but you should also recognize that the enforcement pattern is quite more targeted than many people online claim. 7. Clarity, predictability, and the power of knowing the rules. One of the most stressful parts of immigration in recent years has been constantly shifting policies, sudden rule changes, confusion about what applies to whom. This kind of turbulence makes it impossible to plan your career, decide where to live, make family decisions, feel any sense of stability. As of early 2026, many core USCIS policies are now clearly published. These policies are being applied more consistently. The pace of dramatic surprise rule changes has slowed. The rules are still strict. The bar has not dropped, but you can now more confidently research what's required. You can build applications around clear checklists and guidance. You can set expectations for timelines based on real data, not pure guesswork. This kind of stability is a form of good news. Even if the system is still difficult, it is less chaotic than in some past years, more predictable for people who take the time to learn the rules and follow them carefully. 8. Visa bulletin movement. Slow but real. For many family-based and employment-based immigrants, the visa bulletin is everything. It tells you whether your May priority date meeting is current, whether you can file for adjustment of status, whether your consular case can move toward interview. In 2025 and into 2026, the visa bulletin has continued to show on forward movement in several categories, even if modest. Some categories move faster than others. Some barely move at all in certain months. That's the reality. But here's why even small forward changes matter. Any movement means the east line is moving. It means people ahead of you are getting their visas. It means your turn is getting closer. Even if slowly, this steady allocation of visas is a clear sign that the system is kind of operating. Not frozen. Numbers are being used, cases are ultimately being decided. For families who have been watching the same dates for years, seeing even small jumps can bring a huge emotional boost. And more importantly, real legal progress when their date finally becomes current. 9. The human impact. What good news really looks like. When we talk about good news in immigration, we're not saying everything is perfect or the system is easy now. We're talking about real human outcomes. A person who finally receives an Mat approval notice. After years of silence and daily case status checks, a worker who's able to renew their EAD on time and keep their job without a gap. A spouse or child who finally gets that long-delayed embassy interview. A family that can at last buy tickets to reunite after years of forced separation. These moments are not minor. They are life-changing, stability-creating. The fulfillment of years of sacrifice and waiting. At the same time, we must stay realistic. Immigration in 2026 still requires patience. It still demands accuracy and attention to detail. Mistakes can still cause major delays. Not every case will move quickly, fairly, or smoothly. The system is not fixed, is not easy, is not accessible, to everyone who deserves a chance. But the fact that cases are being processed, approvals are happening, interviews are being scheduled, visas are being issued means we are not dealing with a total shutdown. We're dealing with a functioning, though far from perfect, system. 4. Families counting down to interview dates, workers waiting on green cards, students planning their futures. January 2026 begins with more structure and less chaos than many feared. 10. What this means for you and what you should do. That's thy worse. The message as we start 2026 is not. Relax, it's all fine now. You still need to be vigilant, be quite accurate, be quite proactive. But the message is also not. Give up, nothing ever moves. Immigration remains difficult. There is no escaping that. But the gears are turning. Forms are being received, files are being reviewed, interviews are being scheduled, approvals are being mailed. And for many of you watching this, the direction, slow as it may be, is finally forward. (11) Closing and how Immigration Updates Hub can help. That brings us to the end of this comprehensive update on the state of U.S. immigration as we begin. 2026. I hope this video has given you a much clearer, more nuanced picture of what's actually happening. Beyond the loudest headlines, beyond the fear-based posts, beyond the overly optimistic promises, the truth almost always lives between the most extreme good news and the most extreme bad news. Here at USCIS Immigration Updates. About us, our mission is to provide you with accurate, actionable download information about every stage of the U.S. immigration process. We cover visitor visas like B1 and B2, Work visas, including yes, H-1B, L-1A, L-1B1, and others. Student visas like F-1Y and USCIS M-Yen. Employment-based green cards, EB-1, EB-2, EB-3, EB-4, EB-5. Family-based green cards, naturalization and citizenship. DACA updates, asylum procedures, visa denials and appeals, processing time trends, policy changes, and much more. If you haven't already, please subscribe on its point to Immigration Updates Hub. Turn on the CADA notification bell so you don't miss critical updates. Immigration rules and processing can change quickly. Our goal is to help you stay ahead of those changes with clear explanations, not panic. Share this video with friends and family navigating the system, your WhatsApp groups, community pages. Anyone who is constantly worrying about their case and doesn't know what to believe, accurate information can help people. Make better choices, reduce unnecessary fear, feel less alone. Drop a comment below and tell me, where are you in your immigration journey? Are you waiting for a green card? Preparing for a visa interview? Renewing a work permit? Your experiences help guide the content we create. This community grows stronger when your voice is part of it. If you found this helpful, please hit a you will like. Okay. It makes a real difference in getting this information in front of the people who need it most. Check out other videos on Immigration Updates Hub. 4. Step-by-step guides, common mistakes to avoid, strategy discussions, real-world case examples. Remember, the immigration system is challenging, but you are not alone. Thousands of others are walking the same path, facing similar frustrations and celebrating similar victories. Stay informed, stay compliant, stay hopeful, and most importantly, stay connected to trustworthy resources and communities that support you. Thank you so much for watching Immigration Updates Hub. I appreciate your time and your trust. Until next time, take care of yourselves and your families. Stay strong, stay informed, and keep moving forward on your U.S. immigration journey.